Hi, welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd kick off the practitioner series with a question I got from a student: how to get new clients and how to build a client base. Now, I've never spent any money on Google Ads in my 18 years career in aesthetics. I don't know whether that's silly or smart, but it somehow still worked for me. In this video, I wanted to share with you what I did when I started back in 2007, what has worked in my career and lessons I've learned, and what I would do differently if I were to start my aesthetic career all over again in 2025. So when I started back in 2007, we didn't have Instagram, so we only had Facebook. That's what I did. I basically told my friends and family who I was connected with that, hey, I've just done a course in Botox and fillers, and this is what I'm doing now. And what I also did was I actually put myself out there. I think it was through a friend of a friend. I met somebody who knew the owner of a beauty salon, and I offered my services as an aesthetic practitioner. In those days, it was still quite new-ish, and not many people understood the treatments and knew what was available. At the time, I basically was discussing with the beauty salons, and I traveled to see them and did treatments for their clients. While I was doing this, I also updated my CV to be more aesthetic focused, and I passed it on to bigger aesthetic clinics. To be honest, I only did this like maybe 6 months into my aesthetic journey, into my aesthetic career. And I felt that I wanted to do just to see what I was capable of first, but also get some practice in, and then put my CV out there, because I realized that I wanted to get more hands-on and I wanted to work with more people as well, be in the guidance of somebody more senior so that I can learn from them. And also, then I don't have to worry about the sales, the marketing, and the patient retention. Because coming from an NHS setting, when I was a surgeon, you had consultants, you have registrars that you could bounce ideas from. But when you come into aesthetics, you're all on your own at the start. Working with the clinic, for me, I really wanted to, just so that I could build my confidence. That's where I started. And once I forward my CV, I got an interview. I think I had a few interviews quite soon afterwards. It was 6 months after me starting, but it wasn't until 6 months after those interviews that I actually had a position in one of those clinics. I worked for a very big clinic called Dr. Rita Rakers. At that time, she was known as the Lip Queen, the London Lip Queen. She was very big. She's one of the initial female goats in the industry. And I was very grateful to learn from her, and I was working as an associate to look after the patients in external clinics. So not London clinic. I was traveling up anywhere from Edinburgh, Glasgow, down south to Plymouth, in Exminster, Newcastle, and sometimes I would be seeing 20 patients in one day, maybe 2 or 3 clinics, all concise, one day after the other. It was hard work. I need a lot of energy. That was in my 20s. I'm very grateful. I wouldn't be able to do that now. No, definitely not, because I'm a mum, and just like in my 40s, energy is very different. I'm very grateful for that experience. Now, while I was still working as an associate, I was still working in London by myself, seeing my own patients, whether that was to salons, traveling to salons as a visiting practitioner. I'll probably do that once a month, and if it got busy, then I'll do that once every 2 weeks. And what happened then, I started networking. I learned how to network. So when you network, then you meet more professional women, then you learn how to speak, because you always have to, especially with the small group networks, and you would need to stand up to give your 1 minute, I don't know, elevator pitch, they call it. And so you need to share with them what you do and how you help people. And so I learned a lot from that. How can you concise what you do and to share the benefit? And you learn how to network, so you learn how to help others in their business, in terms of how you can support them in your network, and in vice versa as well. And throughout the years, I started continue posting on Facebook. And then when I got more confident, Then I was ready to have my own place. I think it was only 6 years, probably 6 years, no, 7 years after I started aesthetics, that I felt, okay, I'm ready to set up my own clinic in near Bond Street in London. And at the time, I was doing quite well as well in my clinic. And then I wrote a book at the time as well. And I think beginning time I was doing more email newsletters, which is quite relatively new thing in the aesthetic market. But I enjoyed telling stories. I enjoyed telling like what I was learning, what I was doing. And I was going to the States a lot to study functional medicine, holistic health, hormone balancing. I was sharing that in my content on Facebook at the time. And then, I mean, Instagram only came in 2014, so much later. So 2013, 14, I was doing YouTube. I started on my own, but then when I did very well, then had more money, then I hired a video team. Then I created quite professional looking YouTube videos, which is still on my YouTube channel. And then I hired a PR agent. Here I had like 50 pieces of media articles in different magazines, high-end magazines like Tatler, Cosmopolitan, Women and Home. YouTube really helped because YouTube, it's always there, and that really brought up new opportunities for me. The opportunity to work with the Body Shop International, where I travel a lot. I did media training with them, and I did a lot of speaking, and I have fun doing that, expressing myself in written word. I wrote blogs. I wrote a lot of blogs on my website, and some of the blogs still get traction as well at the moment, because with blogs it stays on your website and you got the SEO. Because when I did threads, when I did my own thread treatment, I wrote about my own experience. I find that patients like that when you share, not just from a professional point of view, but also from a personal point of view, when you have to have the treatment. You know, what your concerns you went through, what you're worried about. And that's why patients really like that, really connect with that, because it just shows that you're human. That's kind of what I did for many years, really, many years. And I've had patients who are still with me for more than 10 years. I think beginning when you acquire patients, it might feel like a lot, but once you have your patients, then take care of them, then they will grow with you and you will grow with them as well. The lessons I learned is when you are telling your friends and family, don't expect them to be your patients, because I think it's a lot of pressure on yourself, but also a lot of pressure on them as well. So I don't really need this. But tell them what you do is for an opportunity for them to ask you questions if it's ever occurred to them and they're not sure about something. Give them the opportunity and have the space that you are open, just asking questions. And also so that you are in their mind, if maybe their friends, when we ask them, I'm worried about my under eyes, a bit hollow. I've read somewhere that fillers can help, but I've heard horror stories about it, or I've been thinking about having my lips done, but I don't know whether it's a good look for me. At least they have it in their minds that you are the best person to ask, because you are in this industry. And if you talk about it on Facebook, because I find Facebook now, you're more connected with your friends and family, not really so much the wider audience, but more the friends and family. Depends on your connection with them. But I think if you write about what you're learning, what you've done, get inspiration from your patients, from your clinic settings, because your patients, when they ask you questions, they are great sources of inspiration for content, because if they're thinking about it, other people are thinking about it as well. So it's great opportunity for you to answer it, whether that in a written form or in an email form or in a video form as well. I think that's really helpful. Number 2, practice telling people what you do. Again, in the beginning, this is going to be very cringe, because it's adopting a new identity. Because think about if you were a doctor, a surgeon, or a dentist, and then you become like an aesthetic practitioner or aesthetic doctor, aesthetic nurse. Some people might be thinking to you as like, oh, that's not really a real job. There will be people think about it, and maybe you think that. Really, we have to practice saying what we do. This is something that you could try. For example, if you stand up in a networking event and just say, I have a surgical background and I now specialize in aesthetic medicine, focusing on rejuvenation and facial balancing. So that's one way. Another way is you can say, I'm an aesthetic practitioner specializing in rejuvenation, facial contouring, and beauty enhancements. It depends on the audience you're speaking to. If you are speaking to more men, you might not want to talk about beauty enhancement or facial contouring. You might want to say, look less tired, as youthful as you feel. That's another way as well. The next lesson, I would say, put yourself out there, really put yourself out there, because people can only trust you when they know you, like you, and know what you do. So if you don't put yourself out there, they have no clue what you do. I would say we live in a really amazing time with technology to be able to be in a lot of places at one time and completely free or very low cost. I would say focus on, if you like to write on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, you write articles, you write posts, it comes on Google and SEO. If you're comfortable in camera, you can do short form, whether Instagram or TikTok, or long form. I find it's better on YouTube because, again, with YouTube is SEO. With Instagram and TikTok, there is no SEO in Google. Whereas, with YouTube, people can find you through Googling. That's really helpful. And expressing yourself, really sharing your ideas, again, what you've learned, what you've discovered, your insights on new treatments, on trends, your own personal experience. All that really matters, because 10 people can do the same thing, but the reason why somebody comes to you is because of how you look will also determine your aesthetic eye. You need to share with people your ideals on beauty, your ideals on youth or anti-aging, ideals on health, because your patient who have similar values and philosophies to you will be attracted to you. They prefer to come to you than somebody else who might think very differently from you. So leverage and maximize your difference, I would say. And fourth lesson is learn to network. Learn to network well. You can network online, that's not a problem, but for bigger impact, learn to network in person. I'm typically very awkward person. I think when I was younger, I pushed myself out to be a social butterfly. It doesn't come naturally to me, and I find it very uncomfortable at times, and by the end of it, I'm just drained. I sometimes do have social anxiety, but I've learned to activate that part of me. If you have trouble putting yourself out there, being with other people, then let me know. I can do another video and share with you how I manage that. And the fifth thing I would say that's important is building connections with your patients. The best way for me is really your email newsletter, email list, updates on new treatments, offers, if you like, and insights on new trends. That's just an example. Because the most important thing is staying fresh in your patient's mind. Because of aesthetics, they're not coming to see you regularly. They might see you every 3 months, 6 months, sometimes in a year or two, depending on what they have. So they might forget about you. Having email newsletters is a way to have touch points. I've had patients who come back to see me after 2-3 years because I did an email, and they just say, oh, this really spoke to me, or this is perfect thing for what I need right now, and then they book with you. Or patients who've traveled away, and then I get an email saying, oh, it's good to hear from you, and when I come back to London, I'll come and see you. So all those little touch points, it really matters, because number one, it just reminds people that you're still doing it, you're still in it. And if you learn new things, learn new treatments, then share it, because then your patients might actually feel that this new treatment is better for them and not, what you did before. There's different areas. What I would do if I were to start all over again is, number one, get on LinkedIn, because you connect with professionals, and learn how to use LinkedIn, write articles. You can set up a newsletter on LinkedIn, actually. So that's really helpful. But that's more of a professional way rather than quite personal. But that's a good start in this trade. Okay. LinkedIn for written long form, YouTube for filming long form, and then you can have short form content for more in the moment connections like Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. I've never gotten into TikTok. I don't know. I know people ask me to do it, but I think it's my mindset. I haven't. That's a problem. If you got any tricks to get on TikTok, let me know. Join a networking group. Learn how to network, that you enjoy being part of. There's so many networking groups. You have all women networking groups, you have mixed networking groups, some that meet early in the morning every week, some that meet once a month, every few months for dinner. See what your budget allows. There's so many out there. And I would say join the in-person one rather than the online one, because online, it's very easy to get lost in online. You see, because so many people, I don't remember people when they're online. I just don't. But when the people see you, meet you, feel your energy, you are so much more memorable than that. And fourth thing I would do is create email lists like before, and just be regular in sending out emails to connect with my clients. Last one, in regards to Google Ads, I don't have experience with Google Ads. I know people who've done very well with Google Ads. All I can say is, if you decide on Google Ads, just make sure you are okay burning it, really, because you have to feed it for a bit before you get the results that you want. And I think it's more difficult in areas that are more concentrated in aesthetic clinics. But if you're in an area that has not many aesthetic clinics, then maybe that's better. Really, that's my take on it. Just make sure you have money to burn, because nothing can actually come out of it potentially. Really, set up a Google page. That will be important for your business. That's really helpful. And then encourage your patients, if they're happy to write testimonials on your Google page. Because Google page is free and it's SEO. I feel that's better than Google Ads. That's my thing as well. And I know it's a long answer, but I say it's not really a quick answer, really. How to get new clients and how to build a client base. I would say put yourself out there, be patient, be persistent, and it will come. It will come. And be a good injector. Be good at your skill and know how to take care of your patients. All right. I hope you find the video useful. Let me know in the comment section below what you're currently doing, which you're finding success with, which you're struggling with, and maybe I'll make another video and help you move through it. All right. See you in the next video. Bye.